This is Robert with Pioneer Smokehouses, and today we have our Smoke Hollow electric analog smoker here, and we're going to be making some smoked pork blades, and then just as a side I'm going to throw on some macaroni and cheese. I really want to talk about the Smoke Hollow itself and how it works. So I got it all seasoned up, and this is going to actually be my first cook on it. I did get a chance to play with the thermostat a little bit and get the temperature dialed in. Since it is analog, you're kind of putting it in a location and letting it go and seeing what the temperature does. There's a temperature gauge on the front here. Without double checking it, when I reached in, it felt like it was pretty close to the right temperature. I'm relatively decent at judging the small temperatures and knowing what's too hot and what's not. So anyway, first thing we're going to do is I took and put in a amazing pellet tray because I wanted to continue seasoning a little bit more without running it, and I ran it with the pellet tray, and with the pellet tray inside it we're getting a temperature of about 115 degrees, so that's without any power coming on. One of the things that I forgot to mention in my last video that I really like about smokers like this is when you have a smoker in this price range, you don't feel bad if you want to make a modification. I would not feel bad at all about punching a hole in the side and adding an input pipe. And when I say that, I mean it can literally be as simple as something like a piece of flexible tubing. I'll kind of give you an idea of what I mean, like some tubing like this, and forming something to make an input so you can put cold smoke into it, which will significantly lower your temperature, and because you need to be around 80 to do cheese. So right now it's running that pellet smoker tray, and I'll go ahead and pull that out now so that way you kind of get an idea. It's probably not too hot, but I'm going to go ahead and grab it with the glove anyway, just because I don't want to make any mistakes. And you can see this thing here. I just love these. These are great for smoking stuff. And one of the nice things about this is you can set your smoker on low and use this to provide all the smoke that you need, or you can use the regular system. I tend to use this more often than not, but because I only have the two shelves today, we're not going to use that. So I'm just going to set this aside. And then next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this. This was the smoker box that I just used. And so I'll open that up, and you can see all the spent wood in there. And I'm going to run behind you and dump this in the fire pit real quick. I just love shooting the videos here because I'm sitting here and this is my backyard, and I'm just looking at a creek with just all green trees everywhere around me. Anyway, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reload that. We're going to go ahead and use mesquite. I'm just going to hit it really hard one time, so I won't be reloading the smoker tray at all. So get that reasonably full. I don't have a good idea of exactly how it burns yet, but I'm just going to try to push as many of the chips to the center. So I put the amount of chips that I wanted in there, and then I kind of moved it to the center so that way there's little gaps on both ends because the heating element runs right down the center. So I'll go ahead and put the tray on, the lid on, excuse me. And then I'm just going to slide that right in where it belongs. There's a water tray right here, and when I turn the camera off, I'll go get some hot water and put it in there because I just forgot. That's only just because I want to keep the pork chops as moist as possible. I'm going to pull that out just a little bit so it'll still tilt, but that way I can get the water in without getting any water on the element. And just, you know, I'm only going to put in 2 cups of water. That thing probably holds about 4. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this tray. I moved it down to put the pellet smoker on, and I'm going to move this tray up near the top. For cooking, I don't like to be too close to the bottom. That looks pretty good right there. It'd be better if they were even. And it's just like a pegboard. You just tilt them up and snap them in place, and then you can just do that like that. So this is my last piece of tin foil, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it in here. The reason I'm using the tin foil is just because I don't want the pork chop to drip down on the rest of the smoker. So the next thing I'm going to show you is these grill mats here, and I use these all the time. I haven't fit one yet for the smoker, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quick. So I just line it up on the tray there, and then I just kind of cut a notch where I want to start. And then I'm just going to take my scissors, and any scissors will work, but of course I have my kitchen scissors, which are, these kitchen scissors are really nice. These are the J.A. Hinkle International kitchen scissors, and I'll tell you what, I've never had a better pair of kitchen scissors. And then when you want to wash them, you just take them apart and you throw them in the dishwasher. I think I don't know if I've ever hand washed them, only if I needed them in an emergency. Okay, and then before I forget, I'm going to put this back in. I had this out when I was running the pellet smoker because I like to do whatever I can to increase the airflow for the pellets. But I'm just going to put that back in there because I don't want it dripping on my table. And something else to mention is that this table is not the normal table I use out here, but this smoker was just the perfect height that my other tables didn't work out for the shot. This one is a resin table, and I would never use this without a smoker that I knew wasn't well away from the heating element. Because these tall legs, it works really good, but like a little Chief will burn right through this thing. So I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. This is just a macaroni and cheese, and I'll talk about this for 1 second. I'm just going to go ahead and set it in here in the middle. I'm not worried if the pork chop drips on it. As a matter of fact, I think that's going to be just extra flavor. So the macaroni and cheese is just a cup and a half of macaroni, parboiled. So if it calls for 6 minutes, I boil it for 3 minutes. And don't go under on that, go a little over, like 3.5 minutes or whatever. And then a half a block of cream cheese and half a cup of cheese. I do half mozzarella and half cheddar, and then like a quarter, maybe 3-4 tablespoons of butter, and then a quarter cup of milk. And then you add a little bit of the pasta water to it also, because that water you'll need to finish the pasta, otherwise it'll end up dry and crusty when you go to eat it. All right, so now we've got our grill mat in, which will go in the dishwasher when we're done. Then here we have our pork blades. So I just dusted these up and basically worked with them. I didn't work in any particular hurry. I want them to get, you know, I don't want them to be left at room temperature too long, but they're still a little cool. And then I just did the normal stuff. I did pepper, garlic granules, and my favorite Cajun spice, which is salt-free, and then of course smoked paprika. That's it for all my fans. And if you're not one of my fans, subscribe right now, because you'll see smoked paprika in every recipe. Anyway, so when I put it on, it I tried to shake it up a little bit, and that got kind of gloppy, so I just used my basting brush, which I might put some barbecue sauce on these when I go to finish them. But so I'm just going to go ahead and put those on there. But the nice thing about this one is that these trays come out a little bit easier than some of the other smokers. So you do want to make an effort to get it to the center, but you don't want them to touch. And that goes with any other food. You want to get it to the center, but not touching. That way the smoke can get around it and flow really well. This, the tin foil is going to hamper that. So now that everything's loaded, I'm going to curve the tin foil in just a little bit. By doing this, that will let the smoke go around the tin foil, but it will keep the oil from the pork chops from getting all over the smoker. So they'll just drop down, straight down in there. All right, so now we're all good, we're all loaded. I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. When you find a temperature that you're really happy with on a smoker like this, you wanna unplug it and leave it like that. Something else that I recommend doing is just take a Sharpie and literally on the dial, you literally just mark it. And I'm gonna put a picture of the dial up here, and I think what I'll do is I'm gonna take a new picture because I have one that I've already taken, but I'm gonna take a new picture so you can see where we're at here. And you'll be able to see the red arrow in there, and you see where it's pointing. And that was giving me about 270, 275 consistent temperature. And once it got to 275, it would turn off, then it would drop down to 270, and then it would turn back on again. So we're gonna run this for about 3 hours. And at that point, then I will take the pork chops and I will throw them on the propane grill. You could use anything you want. You could use a Searsall or a torch and just crisp them up a little bit, or you could even throw them in a frying pan or a broiler. I prefer just turning on the propane grill because I want that little char to it, and because a lot of the oil will be gone, I can just slap it on there on as high as it'll go, flip it over, boom, boom, and done. So we're gonna go ahead and close that up. One thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna reduce the opening on the smoke a little bit, because I'll show you a picture here of how it was, and the smoke was flowing out really good with the pellet tray. But this is not going to put out quite as much smoke as the pellet tray, and so I want that smoke that I do have to work really well. All right, so that pretty much covers everything for now. Okay, we're back now. We've been running a little under what the temperature was intended for, so we pushed it down to about 245, 250. I'm not sure if I just need to adjust the temperature every time, but when I first started it out, it was a little lower than what I planned on. It might have something to do with the water in there too. That might have changed how the temperature ran a little bit. So anyway, we're gonna pop this back open. I opened it a minute ago to see how it was doing. And everything looks pretty good to me. So first thing, I'm just gonna go ahead and slide this right off here. And the nice thing about this grill mat is I'm just going to take it in the house with me, and I'll be able to just throw that in the dishwasher when I'm done. They look pretty good right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and burn them off a little on the propane grill like I said before. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this. Now there is a little bit on the rack here, and I'm going to just go ahead and show that to you. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not like covered, you know, most of it's stuck to the grill mat. And then take a look there, and look at that. Just soft enough. Oh yeah, that looks awesome. All right. So there we go. And if you like anything that you've seen here, links are below. The link to the article for the review article for this, which gives you all the information, is the first link in there. And then you'll see below that, you'll see the links to the to all the affiliate links to the different products that I use. And if you use those, I will get compensated, so I appreciate that. But there's all kinds of other articles on the website. You'll find things from smoking salmon to pork chops to brisket, just anything that you could possibly need. It just, the website's really grown in size. Next video will be a smoked salmon video in this one, and if I can get the temperature down low enough, we're going to try to do a little bit of cheese. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.